this is Russ. Yeah, we're inside again. Yeah, what happened to our good weather? Now, of course, it is March, so here in the Chicago area, I guess it would be typical. We actually had a little bit of snow flurries late last night and also this morning. Nothing stuck. I mean, it was just a little bit of flurries. You know what flurries are? A few snowflakes here and there. But still, it did come down. So yeah, we're inside again. So what are we going to talk about today that's e-bike related? Because as you know, our e-bike videos are on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And then anything goes on Monday. So anything I want to talk about, that's on Monday. Plus some health updates as well. So yeah, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, you know, lately I've been giving you guys some of the comments that people have said and just been commenting on the comments. And here's why I do that, is because sometimes those comments coming in are really good. Yeah, they are. They kind of give me some thoughts as to, you know, hey, maybe that's a good video to discuss, you know, when we're inside. So yeah, so we had some other comments come in, people asking for advice on odds and ends. Now, one thing I think I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of condense all those comments together into some ideas that might be helpful for manufacturers. Yeah, so if you are an e-bike manufacturer, listen up. These are some of the things that people have said it'd be nice if you had some of these items or some of these features maybe. Now, let me give you the first one, and it's coming from me, from Russ is Right, okay? Now, as you know, I do carry sometimes two batteries. I carry a second battery if I want to go farther. So many of the manufacturers, as they've given me review bikes, have given me a second battery because of my request to them, because I want to go farther with their bike. Now, if they don't give it to me, usually I end up having to ride around town, and we don't go too far, as you all know. But if they do give it to me, I try my best to try to go for some further distances. But the problem with that is that you can't carry that second battery easily. Now, some bikes have two batteries built in, right? The Engwe, for instance, I have an Engwe X24 that has two batteries in there. It's built into both the seat tube. Well, it's actually the seat post that is actually the battery, and then also the down tube has a battery there too. So we get a little bit more distance because of that. The electric bike company has two batteries. The one that I have, the Model S, I have one in the rear rack, and then I also have one built into the front basket. Okay, so those are easy to carry because it's part of the bike in a sense. But all the other bikes, I have to carry a second battery. Where do I carry it? I usually put it on the rear rack, but I have nowhere good to put it. I usually end up trying to keep the battery box that it came in. And then I keep the styrofoam as well because that kind of cushions it. And then I bungee cord that box onto the rear rack. Now, it's not the most stable doing it that way. And of course, it bounces pretty hard. So people have said, you know, Russ, that doesn't look good. It looks really cheap. Yeah, I agree. It does look really cheap doing that. But that's really the safest way for me to carry the battery with me, okay? So here's my thing to the manufacturers. Build a bike battery, a secondary bike battery box that people can carry with them on their rear racks. But it would be even better if you had some way of mounting it onto the rear rack easily instead of us having to wrap a bunch of bungee cords around the rear rack to do it. Okay. Now, I mean, if it was one made specifically for that bike, that would be really cool. I mean, all the bike batteries, as we know, are different sizes. Some of them are pretty long. They hang out over the rear rack. So if there was a way that kind of clipped on to the rear rack, you know, a box that would clipped on, had decent padding on the inside to cushion that second battery and was locked in there so you didn't have to deal with bungee cords, that would be great, all right? Now, if you don't want to make it just for your own bike, you want to be universal for a lot of bikes, then yeah, the battery box would have to be large enough that can handle different types of lengths of batteries, or maybe there's a large, medium, small option. But then again, you still have to have some way of mounting that onto the rear rack. I mean, we may be forced to have to use bungee cords, but is there a better way to do it? If you're a manufacturer of e-bikes, think about that, okay? Because I think that would be something we would buy. And let me ask you this too, for those who are watching this video, if you agree with that, put a comment in the comments below. I want the manufacturers to see it showing them that you guys are interested in a product like this. And don't make it real expensive, okay? Don't make it like $100 or something like that. This thing's gonna have to be, let's say $60, $70 or less. Less being better. I don't know how much it costs to manufacture. I mean, if it's plastic, there's molding involved. I know it costs money to make the mold and all that stuff, but if there's a way to do it, and there's an open call to all manufacturers, try to make something like that for us. I think we would buy it. And not only would we buy it, we might buy a second battery from you as well, because then it's easy to bring that battery with us. We can go farther, okay? That's my number one thing. All right. Now, other people have asked me other things too and says, where do I get a hold of this? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that, right? Lately, one of the big comments were bicycle bells. I mean, as simple as that. Many of you manufacturers, give us really cheap bicycle bells. Yeah, I mean, they're cheap. You know it. Give us a better bicycle bell, okay? Now, the one that I've been using a lot, as you know, people have asked me, where do you get that bicycle bell? It's like a little cylinder, right, that goes around the bike itself, and it only cost me, I think, like $1.70 something. I bought it I bought some on Amazon. I'm sorry, I take that back. I bought some at AliExpress, and I bought some on Temu.com. All right, same exact bell, different prices, of course, but they're inexpensive. Give us those bells. A lot of people like those bells. Okay, some of the bells that you guys give us are really cheap. I mean, even those bells are cheap. Get us a decent bell that's low profile. Okay, I'll try to take a picture and leave it up here so you guys can see what that bell looks like. You know what it is. Come on, there's a lot of guys that put it on their bikes. Get us something like that. That would be good, okay? So we don't have to go out and buy another bell. All right, now, another thing people have asked us is for different bike saddles. They'll say, how come they give us such cheap bike saddles? Well, I kind of know why, because a lot of us change it according to what feels good to us, and they can't really tell what we would like compared to somebody else would like. So to give us a bike saddle that'll get you by, and if you like it, you kind of sit on, you're done, right? But a lot of us change it out. Some of us use big fat, heavy duty, bouncy, cushiony bike saddles. But I think on a manufacturer's standpoint, that's kind of hard to tell what you would like, what you won't like. So they just give you something. But at least manufacturers, if you're going to give us something that has a little cushion on it. I think we would really like that. I mean, we may still change it out, but I think a little cushier saddle would be nice. Okay. I don't know how much extra we would be willing to pay for it. I mean, I don't know what your costs are, and you, of course, have to mark it up, but give us something decent. I think a lot of us might pay an extra $5 or $10 extra on top of your regular retail price, just so that we don't have to deal with changing out the saddle, okay? Look for something good. All right. What else? What else? Let me think about it. Oh, okay. People have said, stop this whole ghost pedaling business. Why do we have so much ghost pedaling in our bikes? Yeah, manufacturers, do this. Okay, give us 11-tooth rear hub. What would they call that? The gears in the back. Give us 11. Okay, get it down to 11. That way we don't have the problem with ghost pedaling when we're going faster. All right. I think a lot of them are at 14 teeth, something like that. Give us 11. Or, if you want, give us a larger chain ring, right? I think many of them are maybe 48T. Give us something like 52, all right? Or maybe give us both. Both might be a little much, all right? But give us something so that we eliminate our ghost pedaling at faster speeds. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Yeah, manufacturers, think about that, okay? Can't be that hard to figure that one out, all right? So give us something like that. Oh, another thing people have said, how come they give us such cheap derailers? Yeah. Some of the bikes have some cheap derailers on there. I mean, I know many of you guys use Shimano, okay? But give us something like at least a Sierra or something like that, okay? Don't give us the cheapest ones. Give us something a little bit higher even. I mean, cost-wise, can't be much more than $10, $15 more. You know, even at retail, I think it's only like $10 or $15 more. It's not that much more than the tourney if you're a Shimano user. So give us something decent, yeah. And make sure you put a derailleur guard on there too. Some of the bikes come in, they don't have them. Make sure you have a derailleur guard for us. Because, I mean, if we fall off that bike and it goes towards that right-hand side as we're facing forward, okay, it's going to land on the derailleur. We need a guard on there. Make sure that's in there, okay? Most of you guys do put it in there. I'm not saying that the manufacturers don't, but sometimes they don't, right? Put that in there. And make sure there's a chain guard on that chain ring too. Sometimes I've seen where there's no chain guard at all. We need something, because if you get your pants and stuff stuck in the chain ring, that's going to be bad, right? Be careful of that. And give us a decent chain. I've seen some of the chains that come in seem to be a little cheap. They do. They really seem cheap. Give us some decent chains on there too. I think we'd pay a little extra so we don't have to deal with having to get a chain to fix the broken cheap chains, all right? I've never had one, but I'm just saying, all right? Get a decent chain. Now, I know every little bit of this adds to manufacturer's costs, and of course, at retail, it would raise it even higher. But I think we'd be willing to pay a little bit just to make sure we have decent stuff. I mean, if you're a manufacturer, advertise that. Just mention, hey, we put a better chain on here. We did this to this. We did that to it. So that way, the people buying it will say, okay, this bike might cost me $100 more or $75 more at retail. At least we know why. Okay, then we would say it was worth it because they upgraded those parts. I think we're at the point now with e-bikes that we're willing to pay a little bit more. I'm not saying crazy, but a little bit more just to get some little bit of upgrades. All right. Now, what's nice is many of the bikes now all come with hydraulic brakes. Not all of them do, but it would be nice to get some hydraulic brakes on the bikes. All right. So especially if you're at a certain price point, definitely you need that hydraulic brake in there to be competitive. Yeah, so keep that in mind. And you guys too, if you're buying a bike, yeah, keep an eye out for hydraulic brakes. Now, if your bike didn't come with hydraulic brakes, you could always upgrade hydraulic brakes. You can get a hydraulic brake kit and then just install that. Now, it is a little bit more work to do that because you got to change the whole cabling and everything like that. And if you're not sure how to do it, then go to a bike shop and see if they can install it for you. I don't know what they would charge. Be a good question for bike shops. Some bike shops will repair e-bikes that they don't sell. So just keep your eyes open for those type of shops. So, I mean, even locally around me here, I have a shop not too far from me. I talked to the owner and he says, yeah, we would repair anybody's e-bike as long as we can get the parts and as long as, you know, if there's something special for that bike, they need, you know, documentation from the manufacturer as well then. But as long as the parts are available, they're willing to work on it. So there are shops who will work on your e-bike even if you didn't buy it from them, okay? So keep an eye out for that. And then I mentioned too before, REI as a national chain will work on e-bikes. Now, one thing with REI is we noticed last year, because I had to bring a bike in for what did we do? We had to fix the spokes on the rear wheel. Had to make sure that was tensioned properly. And the one thing they don't want you to do is leave your e-bike with the battery installed. They will not take the e-bike with the battery. So you have to take the battery off before you bring the e-bike to them. And then when you leave it for them to fix it, they feel better when your battery's not with them. Okay? And we understand why, because of battery issues, you know. So, yeah, that's a big thing. People have to be careful of battery fires. And they, as a national chain, have said that they will not take any bike that has the battery on the bike with it. Okay? All right. I guess unless you bought the bike from them, then I guess they trust their own bikes that they sell, in which case then maybe you can leave the battery there. So, all right. What else? What else have people mentioned? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Tires, I think the most common tires we see are either Kendas. What else is there? The Chang Yao. What's it called? I'll put a note on there. See, this is where my Yao Chang. What's that thing called? I have no idea. I'll put a little note up on there so you can tell what other tire. Those are the two basic tires that we usually see. I don't know if people are willing to pay a little bit more for better tires or not, but at least those two brands. Yeah, get at least those two brands on your bikes. So that's good. Fenders, okay. Now, I've noticed that a lot of the bikes that they say, well, this is going to be taken off-road, so we're just going to make it without fenders. Yeah, give us the fender option at least. Even if your bike doesn't come with it, give us the option that we can get fenders for that bike. So the bike frame should allow us to be able to install that optional fender. Okay. Better yet, just give us the fender. Now, I know some people don't want the fenders on there, but really, if you don't have the fenders on there, you go through mud and everything like that, it's going to splatter all over the rider. If you don't have it in the front wheel, it's going to get all over you in the front. If you don't have it on the rear wheel, can't say that, it'll splatter you on the back. So to me, I like the fenders. Now, I don't do a lot of off-roading, but I know a lot of you guys do. The fenders do help, right? Now, some people say it doesn't look as rugged. It doesn't look as I don't know what you want to call it, but it doesn't look rugged enough. So now the fenders come in handy. All right, give us the fender. And if you don't give it to us as part of the bike, give us an option to put an optional fender and make it so that the bike can accept that optional fender. Okay, so there you go. What else? Headlights, right? Give us bikes that have the rear tail light operating on the main system. In other words, don't give us a tail light where we have to plug in a charger to charge up the battery or put an additional battery on it. I'm talking like a little battery to run the rear tail light. Make it part of the system, okay? Because I've been noticing some of the bikes now are saying, well, we have it, but we give you a tail light, oh yeah, but we have to charge it or we have to buy a battery for it, little double A's or whatever. We don't want that. We want it as part of the system of the bike, all right? So when we hit the handlebar, the handbrakes, we want that thing to actually light up, and we want it to, be part of the nighttime system too. So that won't happen unless you integrate it as part of the bike. Okay. Now you could say, well, it's got a tail light. Yes, but it may not hit. It might not brighten up if I hit the brakes because it's not part of the system, right? Don't give us those. Give us one that are part of the bike. Yeah, that's important, all right? And again, this is to the manufacturers. But again, back to you guys who watch my video. If you agree with some of these things, put in the comments this time. Let the manufacturers know these things are important for us and we want it, all right? Let them know that. I think the more of the manufacturers who read this, because I'm gonna title this so that the manufacturers will take notice and watch it, okay? Let them know it's important to you, or if it's not, then tell them that too. If you don't think it's important, just say, I don't care. I just can't see you saying that though, right? Because it's important stuff, yeah. Lately, we've been talking about turn signals. If that's important to you, put that down there. If it's not important to you, put that down there, all right? I mean, I know manufacturers will spend money to try to put features like turn signals on the bikes, but I'd rather have the brake light. Okay, if you have the brake light, you have an option for the turn signal, right? Because it's part of the system. But yeah, I'd forego the turn signal to make sure that tail light is integrated. That's what I'm saying, all right? So what else do you need? What else is important to you? Some people have asked whether the bike companies could at least include something like the Sun Tour or seat post. Yeah, they could, but that's kind of an expensive item. It's not. I mean, even if you bought it by yourself, it's not an inexpensive item. And some of the cheaper seat post style suspensions, ones that just go up and down, but they don't go backwards, they're kind of cheap. Yeah, so I would say I don't really want that. I mean, if they're going to give us some type of thing for a suspension seat post, yeah, then it needs to be something like the Sun Tour. Yeah, give us a quality one. Don't give us a cheap one, all right? Now, if you give us a cheap one, don't call it full suspension then, all right? Because to me, a full suspension bike has a frame type suspension in the front and the back, not a seat post suspension, all right? So call it what it is. Don't stretch the truth is what I'm saying, all right? So I think those are the main things that people have said. I mean, if there's something else that you can think of that I haven't mentioned, put it in the comments, all right? I'm hoping that the manufacturers will watch this video and then can see your input as to what you think you would like to see on your bikes, right? I know some people have asked for like color options on bikes. That's kind of tough because you have a lot of options of colors, and if they make a certain amount of colors and they can't sell through it, that's a difficult thing for manufacturers. So they usually only give you maybe 2 or 3 color options. But further than that, it's a little much to ask of them. Yeah. And while we're at it too, put in the comments what you really want. Do you want a step through or a step over bike, or do you want both options? All right. For me, as I'm getting older, step through makes a lot more sense. Tell them what you think about the mid step too while we're at it. tell them if you like the mid step idea or not. And the mid step is really kind of a step over type design, but the top bar is kind of brought down a little bit. You know, it's kind of hard to step through those mid steps. To me, that's still kind of a thing where you have to swing your leg over, or at least tilt the bike down in order for you to kind of step through it. So mid step's okay because there's extra clearance when you're standing up, you know, for guys. But you know, if you really want clearance, you need a true step through design. All right. Oh, one more thing, since we're talking about that. Manufacturers, listen up. When you guys give us a specification for step over height, all right, think about this. You always measure it right at the seat post. You've got your whole body still to have to deal with, and you got that seat. You got the saddle in the way. So when you hop off the bike, your butt pushes you forward because the saddle is in the way. Now the front of you, for guys, think about this, is really not the height of where the seat post is. It's more forward, and as the step over angle of that top tube is shown, it's actually a lot higher than you say. So I'd like to see a specification where you say step over height at seat post is this, step over height forward, you know, when you're off of the bike and the seat pushes you forward a little bit, you know, that angle adds some height. Give us a specification for that too, because I think that's really kind of important for a lot of people to know what that is. Many times I have found that, you know, if they say the step over height is this for a step over bike, you know, they say, here's your clearance. By the time I'm actually off the bike, I'm already hitting the bar because it's of that angle, okay? So I wish there was a specification for both those things. I think it would be helpful. People want to know that because they don't know whether they can fit it or not. A lot of times when I hop off that bike, I have to tilt the bike a little bit because it's too high up. You see what I'm saying? But if I simply looked at the step over height from the seat post part, yeah, I should be able to clear it. You can't. Not with the saddle pushing you forward. Make sense? Give us two specifications there. All right. All right, I think that's enough. If there's more things that you would like the manufacturers to know, put it in the comments on this video. I think it's really important. Let them know, all right? Give us a voice so we can tell them what it is that we want to see, all right? Anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It's going to be difficult to get the bikes out this week. I think a lot of us in the Midwest are being hit with colder weather again. So I won't be able to go out. We got stuck inside for a little bit. Anyways, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Put some comments in the comments this time. Let the manufacturers know what it is that you would like to see. Hopefully they'll implement it maybe in the future or maybe quicker. I'll talk to you guys next time.